Hello there. So in this one, you lost basically because in two moves, and only basically two moves, you did not really think that much. So you made two blunders. So one of them blundered the bishop, another one blundered the queen. And what's similar about both moves is that they both took less than 9 seconds. So this was a time control of 15 plus 10. And in this time control, I would suggest never making a move in less than 9 seconds. This way you will never lose on time, but also you will always have at least some time to check whether your move is possible. So let's take a look at these two moments. So it started quite well. Black took the center perfectly with two pawns. This is what we want. White is not really fighting for the center, so already black is comfortably better. Now knight c6, and white is moving around the same knight two times and castles. So now we have developed all of our pieces, we have castled, this is perfect. And now we can start doing something. Well, we didn't really have to do anything because white went and played b4, giving us a free pawn. And checks, captures, attacks, we found it. Bishop takes b4, it's protected, so very good. Now after c3, a forcing move, now black has a choice again. We have to move the bishop. Instead, black fought for 5 seconds and took on c3, but unfortunately it was defended. And here, of course, if it wasn't defended, then we would just win the rook, right? So it would be kind of game over. So in such positions, we should try to calm our nerves and not get too excited and understand this. If you are right that bishop c3 is a good move and you're winning the rook, then you will not really need all of your time to win with a rook up, right? You will just have to invest some time into this moment and figure out if everything is fine. And if it is, then go ahead. But if it's not fine, then something might go wrong and you're down the bishop, right? So here, if you fought for 9 seconds or more before taking this pawn, I think you would be fine and you would move the bishop, and we're just a pawn ahead for no reason. We also have better development, everything is great. But now we are down a piece, but at least we have two pawns and we have better development, so the position is not hopeless. We could probably try to open up the position since the opponent's king is here. This would be quite dangerous. Okay, knight e5, in king e2, which is a very strange move. Maybe he did not want to get checked, but now black is actually better because he can open up the position. And here you decide to play c6, and you were talking about the fact that you wanted to keep your d5 pawn protected. You wanted to protect it at all cost. So this is something we have to understand. Why are we protecting pieces and pawns? Well, so that they are not taken, right? So we should protect pieces only if the opponent is threatening to take them, right? So at the moment, there are 3 defenders, 2 attackers. So if he takes, we can just take back and then take back with the knight or queen. So this pawn is definitely not attacked. Meanwhile, what's the most important thing about the position? Well, it's the fact that the opponent is not developed and his king is in the center. This would suggest that we have to fight in the center. So maybe play d4, or maybe prepare d4 with c5, d4. This would move out this pawn, which would open the e file towards this king. Also, this bishop might go to c4 to give an annoying check. And generally, our pawn is just going forward, and white can't really stop it, as his king is in the center. Instead, c6 is a very passive move, and if it only protects the pawn, this means we did not really achieve anything with this move, because the pawn was already protected, so there was no reason to protect it anyway. We basically lost a move. And the move here is very important, because now white can develop his knight. So knight f3 is played, and slowly white might get his king to safety. Rook e8, developing a piece, rook d1, and queen e7, and here he plays e4, which is a very bad move because his king is in the center and he is the one opening up the position, which is very strange. So he played queen e5. Maybe it was simpler to just take, because what is he going to do here? Is he really going to put his piece on e4 in front of this rook? After bishop d5, we're just getting the knight back. This king is still very weak. The queen and king might also be forked. And after we take back the piece, we're going to be 2 pawns ahead with the better king as well. So I'm not sure why we did not just take the simplest route here, because after this, white had one move, but one move is good enough. Queen d4. as it makes sense to exchange queens with white, since his king is very weak. And now our queen is attacked. If we take, now our attack will not really be that successful, because no queens on the board means this king is not in that much danger. But bishop b2, now you took, and now we're winning a bishop here, and his king is for some reason going up. King d3, bishop f5, so everything is very good. And at this point, we are 2 pawns ahead, but more importantly, we have a very strong attack on this king. We're using more or less all of the pieces. The rook will also come very soon. So we kind of have to look for some kind of knockout. So we decided on queen c3, which works to win some material. We could also take on f2 using the spin, similar to how you used it. But okay, this is fine. And now, again, we need some kind of concrete knockout. And here, again, we made the same mistake as with bishop takes c3. Queen e3 was played in less than 10 seconds. But unfortunately, this loses the queen in one move. And as you mentioned, you didn't see the f2 pawn. Well, thinking for a bit longer would solve this, as before making this move, you would think about the opponent's moves. And again, if this works, if he has to move the king, then of course we're completely winning, as we're taking this bishop, we're getting checkmate, everything is dropping. So again, we can use our time to make sure, because if this move works, then we will not need the rest of our time, right? But now we have 4 minutes, we can spend like 20 or so seconds, maybe even more, to find a real win. And the real win can be achieved on the e-file. We can take this, he must take back, and the simple knight f6 is good enough. There are, of course, many other wins. One nice one is queen takes a1, vacating this square for the queen, for the knight, I mean, and once he takes back, now we are taking the queen, and at the end we will have a rook up. So there are many wins, but we must find one very concrete one. But after this, unfortunately, the game is over, as we have just blundered the queen in one move. Here, we are getting some material back, but unfortunately, we are down a rook, so the rest of the game is not entirely interesting. So again, in chess, it's much more important to not make bad moves than to make good moves, right? As here, you played quite a lot of good moves, but every time it was all negated by one bad move. For example, up until here, you played extremely well, developed all the pieces very sensibly, took a pawn, and already have a huge advantage, but then there we go. Now, no advantage. You lost the bishop, right? Similar to here, now you again outplayed your opponent, and then we get to this position where you spend only a few seconds, and queen e3, and all your hard work goes to nothing again. So it's very important to be mindful of this, and consider every move very, very seriously.